So do treatment programs for people who commit sexual offenses, do they actually work? I mean, it's a question that sparks a ton of debate. Today, we're going to cut through all that noise by looking at a massive new scientific review to try and find a real, solid answer.
For years, you've probably heard all the arguments. It's been a really fierce debate with super strong opinions on all sides. It kind of leaves you wondering, right? Are these programs a critical tool for public safety, or are they just a waste of time and money? It's been almost impossible to know for sure.
You know, this whole debate really kicked into high gear back in 1989. A landmark paper came out and basically said, look, the evidence we have, it's just not good enough. And that one critique really set the stage for a decades-long search for a reliable, evidence-based answer that could finally settle things.
So how do you get that reliable answer? Well, researchers didn't just go out and do another study. No, they went to the highest level of scientific evidence you can possibly get.
Okay, here's a great way to picture this. Think of a single study as like a street-level view. It gives you a little snapshot. A meta-analysis, well, that's more like a city map, connecting all the different streets. But a meta-analysis, wow, that's the satellite view. It lets you see the biggest, most undeniable patterns across the entire landscape.
And that is exactly what we're digging into today. This isn't just one team's opinion. This is a synthesis of the entire field of research on this subject.
So, just how big are we talking here? Well, first, the researchers pulled together 21 different meta-analyses.
And get this, those meta-analyses represented a staggering 508 separate program evaluations,
which covered a massive group of nearly 158,000 people. I mean, this is, without a doubt, the most complete and comprehensive verdict we have ever had on whether these treatments actually work. Okay, so after all of that, what's the bottom line? What did this gigantic review actually find?
The answer is a pretty clear yes. The data shows that, on the whole, completing treatment cuts the odds of sexual reoffending by 33% compared to getting no treatment at all.
Let's make that number feel a little more real. The study itself puts it perfectly with this quote. For every 100 people who don't get treatment and go on to reoffend, only about 67 people who did get treatment would. That's not some tiny little effect. That is a major, significant drop in future victimization.
And the impact is actually broader than you might guess. It's not just about preventing sexual crimes. Treatment is also linked to a big reduction in future violence and just crime in general. That's a huge clue that the best programs aren't just about punishment. They're getting at the root causes of criminal behavior.
But, you know, a 33% reduction is just the average. Here's where the story gets really interesting. It turns out not all treatment programs are created equal. The data gives us a super precise recipe for what actually works. First off, age really matters. Intervening early with young people has a much stronger effect. And that totally makes sense, right? Adolescence is this critical developmental window where you have the best shot at changing harmful behavior patterns for good. Okay, next up, where the treatment happens is critical. Take a look at this chart. It shows what's called the odds ratio of reoffending. All you need to know is a lower bar is better. It means the treatment works more effectively. And wow, the difference is stark. Programs based out in the community have a way bigger impact than the ones inside prisons or hospitals.
This also points to a really key idea in modern corrections. You have to focus your biggest efforts where they're needed most. It's called the risk principle. Think of it like this. You wouldn't give super powerful medication to someone with just a minor cold. In the same way, the most intensive, high-dosage treatments should be for the highest-risk individuals. That's where we get the biggest bang for our buck in terms of public safety. And finally, the type of therapy used is absolutely crucial. The data is so clear on this. Approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which actively challenge and help people change their harmful ways of thinking, they are highly effective. On the other hand, older methods like insight-oriented therapy, which are more about just talking and self-exploration, they show basically no significant effect on stopping people from reoffending.
So when you start putting all these different pieces together, the data doesn't just give us an answer. It gives us a roadmap. It tells us exactly what we should be doing.
So what's the recipe for success? Well, it boils down to these core principles. You target the right people. That's the risk principle. You address the specific issues that actually cause their criminal behavior. That's the need principle. And you use methods that are proven to work, like CBT. That's the responsiveness principle. These are the ingredients for a program that actually works.
And here's the real kicker. This isn't some brand new discovery.
The analysis found that this exact same recipe for what works has been consistently supported by the data for the last 40 years. The science on this is pretty much settled. We know what an effective program looks like.
And that leaves us with one final and really crucial question. Now that the evidence is clearer than it has ever been, are we actually investing in and implementing the right kinds of programs, the ones that are proven to make our communities safer and prevent future victimization? That's the challenge that all this data puts right in front of us.